remember to record this meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, we're on. We're live.
All right, Shweta, do you want to run through this, or yeah?
Yes. Great. So feature freeze is done. We have the first build. We started with the asynchronous testing last week. Good news, we have 2 automation tests thanks to Doug. Bad news, we still have 20 tests which need automation, and this is the only week left for automation testing, which means if they are not done, the release will be blocked as we normally do for P0s. And that's on automation. Just to bring for the manual testing, there were a lot of manual tests I reviewed with the working group leads, and most of them, because they did not change from last release to this release, we marked them as P1. Only one of them was changed, which was related to security. So Oliver and the team took it, and they are doing the manual testing. So at this point, honestly, all we have to do is automation testing. And I really need help to automate those 20 tests which are remaining, and only 1 week is left.
So one thing, when we first brought this up, Shweta, there were some concerns that a lot of these were already marked somewhere as not applicable or something similar, and that a lot of them weren't actually relevant. Like, I think, I don't know.
So yeah, we open and review, because we have filtered it on the ones which are not up. So go to the first sheet. Yeah.
Yeah, like traffic management. This is just like a concept doc, so I don't think like this will ever be automated. And I think it was on all the community testing sheets before, we've marked it as not automatable.
Okay.
So we just need to mark it in Istio.io as not automatable, and it will fall off the list.
Yeah, the same applies for almost all of these, I think. Like this one may, oops.
I mean, I don't know if some of these have snippets that need testing or not.
Yeah, I can say, like, anecdotally, I know these 3, all of these 5 or so, 6, they definitely don't. Maybe these other ones do. We'd have to look closer, but I think a lot of them may actually not be required.
Right.
So I mean, where's the right spot to mark it, Eric? Because I know that we've marked this various times in various places, and we have a lot of spreadsheets.
It's in the header of the document.
Of the actual doc on Istio.io.
Correct. That's where Brian and I generated this stuff from.
Okay.
So we have been marking them in the sheets before, John, but this is literally from the Istio.io website. So as Eric said, we have to change there and not in the sheet. So would you be okay to help us out there? Because right now I have a list of 20. If we can reduce, that will be awesome, because we have only 1 week left. And I really want to make sure we have the right test cases to be automated, which can be automated. That would be great.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, I think there'll be more than 0, but much less than 20.
Okay, so we have a working group leads meeting tomorrow. If you have time, and just mark them in the header and here, so we can review it tomorrow based on how many are left, so I can distribute it accordingly.
Okay.
So is it action item for you, John, if you can help?
Yeah, I'll on that.
Awesome. Thank you.
The other question I had about this is, right now we took all the docs and then kind of split them up between different working groups.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just wondering, like, it seems nice that everyone's helping out everyone else. That's good. But it also seems bad that, like, a working group which invested a lot of effort previously into getting these tests now just has to keep doing more testing for working groups who focus maybe on features instead of testing. Like, it seems like if the working group hasn't tested all their docs, maybe their roadmap should be more focused on testing, and they should invest effort there instead of pulling in from other working groups. I'm not sure that there's going to be enough docs that that's a big deal once we filter out the ones that are not applicable, though. But that was just one thought I had.
Well, I would say what we could do, John, is I mean, we just took the top whatever number of docs that showed, you know, that they didn't have tests and were the ones that were hit the most, right? Mm-hmm. So we could take, you know, 10 out of here, 15, whatever the number is. But for the next release, I mean, we could try to be more proactive and saying, looking at the last release, this is what we think the top hit docs are, and create this list and then get the work groups to do what you're suggesting. Would that make sense?
Yeah, I think this list is super useful. It's just like, if you look on line 16, like this is a networking doc and it says user experience should automate it. If the networking team can't document their stuff, then they need to spend more time on testing and documentation instead of whatever other things they're working on, right?
Right. And I would pick on the same thing with TNR, because they got assigned some that weren't theirs either. But
yeah.
But yeah, maybe we could try to be more proactive. Either, obviously we can't be this time around, but maybe we can be more proactive next time around and see if we can identify the ones that we want automated earlier, especially as teams are working on roadmaps now.
Yeah. Well, technically all of them were automated, right? But then we changed the criteria, and we just this quarter, after the roadmap, we wanted to use the one which is heavily visited, and this new test cases appear, right? So what we can do, as John, you suggested, let's review this list, right? Which technically should reduce based on some of them are indexed and may not be automated. I'm hoping they will reduce from 20 to somewhere around like 7 or 8 based on how you are going through that, right? That should be like, at this point, P0s. And this is the list where we said anything more than 1,000 visits are P0s. And to me, after this quarter, all the P0s should be tested, right? Remaining will be P1, P2. That should then we can distribute according to the roadmap and to which area they belong to proactively.
Right. Yeah. Pick the P1s or whatever, the next 20 in the list, whatever.
Correct. Yeah. Then we can start doing the P1s. But for P0, I think that's the best approach we can do. Sounds good,
Okay.
John?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, awesome. So the action item here right now for you, John, if you can help, right, as we discussed, adding to the header and the sheet, so we can review in the working group leads tomorrow, that will be great. Okay, thank you. So that's on testing. Now looking at the bugs, there are 2 release blockers. Of course, we just came out of the weekend, so I do not have a good updates of if we have any mitigation plans or what's the progress. So if you can go into that filter, John, on the release updates. Yeah. Is John here? I know Brian is off. Any other release manager? Okay.
The release manager invited to this call.
I don't know, but I was assume they will join.
I wouldn't think Ryan is.
Okay. Then I'll work offline with them. There are 2 release blockers and 19 P0s, which are scary at this point. But I don't even know their progress, to be honest, if they are being worked upon or if there is any. If anybody else know about the release blockers, at least speak up now, or I can take it after.
I know the second one, well, I created both of them actually. The second one is just mostly looking at Envoy release notes very hard and making sure that's not going to break us. So it's not necessarily that something's broken, it's that we should make sure that something isn't broken, because that's hit us a lot in the past. I took a quick glance and nothing was terribly concerning, but I would love for a lot of people to have eyes on those. The other one, we can get someone from networking to look into it. I'll make sure that happens.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
It should be a small change, so. Did you want to look at P0s or just those 2 release blockers?
I wanted to, but since the release managers are not here, John,
okay.
I don't have updates. So we can skip and we can discuss in the release channel or in the working group leads meeting tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so 111 release managers, I think that's done. We can probably mark this off. 112 release managers, it sounds like we have one from Google. Do we already know who that is, or we just know we want one from Google?
We do have one from Google. I'll add the name, confirming one more time, because I got for 111. I want to confirm they're okay with 112 too.
Okay.
But we need 2 more from other areas.
Yep, sounds good. I think we got the 1.11 release managers a bit late, so it'd be good to get the 1.12 one started, as soon as possible. So if anyone else, any other companies have volunteered, feel free. Okay, next, I think Keenan added this. Are you here?
Yes. I am basically asking to have a review of the InsecureSkipVerify PR I've put up, and then ultimately, if possible, it to be added as a feature into 1.11, but I understand if it's a bit late for that as well.
So can you have, I think, my approval on the API design at least? We require one more TOC member or any other member at this point. It is all approved through the working groups, right? So hopefully this is quick. What about the implementation side? Do you have a PR out? I think you do. I just don't remember.
I have a portion for the environmental variable side of the original document, but the actual InsecureSkipVerify, I think I originally had something out, but I think it's just too out of date to use. It's more of a basically just checking and then removing any verification if InsecureSkipVerify is true.
Okay. So you think for 1.11, like by when will you be able to collapse these? Like that's the.
I'm assuming by this week, but if I need to just do the API portion of InsecureSkipVerify first, I could probably do that. I could definitely do that this week. Because I know the environment variable portion should also be backported into 1.10 and earlier as well.
Okay. So you should be able to, so let's try to get approval for the environment variable portion of this.
Yeah.
And then both the API and the implementation for InsecureSkipVerify. I think depending on when you get all of those things closed, the release managers will take a call.
Okay.
But I think your basic request here is TOC members take a look at the API PR and if you can collapse it.
Yeah, ultimately that is the biggest request is just asking for a review.
Okay, I'll definitely take a look after the meeting.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you very
will
much.
as well. I think at a high level, it sounds fine to me, but I have to take a look at the PR.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
All right. Next looks like working group roadmaps starting next week. Environments, telemetry still needs to schedule theirs at some point. I don't know. I think Doug, I think you mentioned you're out of office for a bit. If that impacts it, but at some point, feel free to fill us in.
Yeah, Andar's going to take over for that.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Okay. Is there anything else here, Sweta?
No, it's
Need to
just
fill that in.
live for TOC that we need to allot some time each of this week for the presentations.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. That's it. That's on the document. Is there anything else we need to discuss?
Yeah, the WASM API PR.
Yep.
It just needs, I think, one more LGTM. But I mean, like, I would really ask people to do it in the next 30 minutes because it's really done. It's just like should be done now.
I'll take a look after this meeting.
Did we settle down on the priority?
Yeah. So
Linda?
it's
Okay.
yes. So we will update the doc with just explaining what it is right now, but it won't be. We won't change it. It's just it is basically what you suggested. Just update the doc.
Okay. So priority higher means it's earlier in the chain?
Yes, priority higher means
good.
it's earlier, yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
And Mandar, is that, in terms of the implementation, is that ready to go with the PR? And are we planning to add it into 1.11?
Yeah, so the implementation is going to change a little bit based on some changes, well, to the API. But I don't expect the implementation to change a lot. And the implementation doesn't destabilize anything else because it's kind of opt-in by, I mean, you have to use the API, and until the API is used, none of the code really kicks in. So that's at least my judgment. What's your take on that, John, or anyone else, regarding accepting it in pilot at this stage?
I think I'm generally fine with it because, like you said, it's pretty isolated. If it turns out that we need to make it, a bit more invasive and we start delaying this like a week or two, then it may become questionable. But if, we get the API merged today, the implementation merged this week, and it's kind of isolated, that seems fine to me.
Okay. Yep, I agree.
We should make sure the release managers are aware and okay with the plan, though.
All right. Yeah, we'll add release managers on the master PR just so that they're specifically expecting it.
Okay. Anything else we need to discuss?
So I do have a quick question, Niraj, on the API you asked us to review, the early one, InsecureSkipVerify. So I saw there's a deprecation of verify certificate client. Do we know if anybody using that? Is the reason for deprecation is because it's moving to configure a proxy config, so you can configure it on a proxy basis?
It was never implemented and never documented.
I see. But it wasn't hidden from the doc. Okay.
Yeah, as far as I know, it was never implemented. Only the API PR was merged in. Kenan, do you want to jump in and answer?
Yeah, it was never implemented past the API being added. There was an open PR that was never finalized.
Gotcha. Yeah, thanks for clarification.
All right. If there's nothing else, I guess we can end early today.
All right. See you folks next week.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.